All right, guys, what's going on? Hope you're doing good. Hope you've had a good weekend. I know it's not. No, it's been a while since I've been on, but I've been busy prepping to go to the beach. So Old Don Beach's going to be going to the beach soon. Um, Other than that, let's jump into it. So I got two videos I'm going to make today. I've had a bunch of people emailing me about a case in Nova Scotia. Um, Lily and Jack Sullivan. They wanted me to look into it and give my opinion on it. Um, Basically, it's still early on, and from just glancing at it real quick, it looks like the area resembles. It's very rural. It resembles the area like where Summer Wells lived. So I don't know how much cell phone data law enforcement's going to have where they lived. I'm sure most people end up getting some kind of cell phone, like where you live at. Let's say at Summerwell's house. I think the only network out there that picks up is I think AT&T. So what a lot of people do is they'll get a phone that they can use that uses that network, so they can use it at their house. You know what I mean? That's normally what a lot of people do. So my assumption is more than likely uh, the stepdad and the mom had phones that connected to whatever, or if they even had cell phone service where they lived. Again, it looks very rural, just like the Summer Wells case. So probably only one, maybe two cell phone service providers in that area, if any. Uh, so police are going to, obviously check for that. They're going to check for, I'll have to look and see what kind of vehicles they have. Do their vehicles have GPS data that police can pull? It's, when kids go missing, and in my opinion, if they walked off, um, they should have been found by now, because um, tracking dogs, they're pretty good. Tracking dogs are pretty good. Now, when it comes to cadaver dogs, I I've seen a lot of cases where cadaver dogs just walked right by a body. Okay, um, but tracking dogs, I think, are more reliable, in my opinion, than cadaver dogs. And given that they were in the yard and just walked off, they should have been able to track them somewhat. You know what I mean? There should have been some tracks that the dog should have been able to, again, I always reflect back to a case up here in Jefferson County, Tennessee, where a little autistic girl went missing over, in the middle of the night. They tracked her right down to the lake, and, unfortunately, she was found drowned. But they did track her. That confuses me in the Sebastian Rogers case, but and I'm gonna have to look into this Lily and Jack Sullivan case to see if the dogs actually were able to track. If they were, what direction did they track into the woods? I'm hearing that there was a boot print found, but nothing confirmed by law enforcement. So basically, guys, that's basically my opinion. Is just we're gonna have to, they should have found some tracks. That's my opinion. If they wandered off, K9 should have found some tracks, or should have tracked them somewhat. Whether it be 10 feet or 1,000 feet, they should have been able to track them somewhat. You know what I mean? And they had a pretty good lead on Summer Wells until the gravel hit the pavement, like Ronnie Lawson said. That change of terrain or surface structure can mess with a dog's ability to track. So, but up there, mostly grass. The terrain is mostly grass. So if they, were in the yard and went into the woods, there's not really much of a surface difference there. It's all going to be grass, topsoil, weeds, trees, there's not going to be, it just doesn't seem like there's going to be, it doesn't seem like it's a suburban place where Sebastian Rogers went missing, where you've got all kinds of streets, driveways, side roads, and even where Summer Wells went missing. I mean, you've got all kinds of, back roads and whatnot. But they did track Summer Wells down to the road. Again, they did track her down to the road. So, be interesting to see if they did track at all Lily and Jack Sullivan anywhere from that house. So that's my opinion. What's my advice? I would say just listen to law enforcement. At this stage in the case, they're probably going to be probably in the middle of winding down the search, but at the same time upping the investigative process of how they went missing. So just my advice to you guys, if you're on this case and you want my opinion and my advice, just listen to law enforcement. I'll be on here from time to time to give some updates on what I hear. Not going to go with any crazy conspiracy theories, but just pay attention to what law enforcement does. That's my advice to you. Pay attention to what law enforcement does. Obviously, they're going to be searching vehicles, cell phones, family electronics, all kinds of data, if there's much at all out there. I mean, it's a very rural area, so going to be questioning friends and family, going to be seeing, if it gets to a point in the investigation to where police feel like they didn't wander off, then you got to ask yourself from an investigative standpoint, okay, who would want to hurt these kids if they didn't wander off, right? And if they wandered off and someone abducted them, that's a different story. But if it turns out K9 doesn't even track them from the house, that's suspicious in itself, Again, I got real good faith in K9 tracking. Cadaver dogs is I'm still a little on the fence on them. But K9 tracking, I believe I've got real good faith in those dogs. And they should pick up on a track. So if all that stuff doesn't happen, like there's no tracking, there's just no trace of them from that yard or in that yard or whatever, of course, then you got to fall back on, of course, they're doing the investigative process too, but you got to fall back on that more so than the search, because now you got to go, okay, if there's no trace of them leaving the yard, because these dogs would have found, they would have tracked 10 feet, 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet. They would have tracked a little bit. And if that doesn't happen, then we've got to fall back more on the investigative side, talk to friends and family, people that knew the kids, has anybody heard of maybe someone wanting to harm the kids, anything like that, guys. So I think you know where I'm going with that. So, but yeah, I think at this point, if they had wandered off, in my opinion, I think they would have been found by now. So it's statistically not looking good. So at this point, like law enforcement always says, they're probably going to be focusing more on the investigative side of what happened for them to disappear than the actual search. I mean, they're still going to be searching, but I think 75% of the focus is going to be on the investigative side at this point. Other than that, I've heard that people's offered to take polygraph tests. Don't know yet if all that has happened or not. Still waiting to hear. on that. I'm going to go do a deep dive on the case, get caught up on what's going on and this and that. But again, if you guys want my advice on anything, just pay attention to what the police are doing. If they start searching the trailer, the residence, the cars, and you start seeing crime scene people on the property where those kids lived, then I'm getting very concerned. So stay, just if you want my advice, just pay attention to what the police are doing, and just go from there. That's what I say. Just go from there, and try to avoid the crazy conspiracy theories that always float around on. Godzilla didn't take his kids. You know what I mean? King Kong didn't take them. So just pay attention to what the police are doing, and you'll stay on the right track. So that's my Lily and Jack Sullivan video. That's what you guys wanted to hear. I'll be doing a Summer Wells video later. Got some stuff I want to talk about in that. Some stuff that's been on my mind. And so anyway, guys, that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.